Hi students, this is week 7 and we are entering into our final week of content. So we have talked about a lot of things this semester. Summer semesters are always fast, right? They're always condensed. We take 16 weeks worth of materials and we squeeze it into 8 weeks. That's the idea. So good job keeping on top of everything. Thank you all for being good participants in the discussion. It's been really enjoyable to read your discussion posts and also to look at the work that you all have put in. And again, I think you all are in a very good position sort of heading into our last week of content, and then of course our final week of the course, which is going to consist of your exam and also your Green Tech presentations. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we're doing this week as far as the learning modules go, and then I also want to preview some material for you for next week. So first of all, let's make it look like you see it. So in our learning modules here, we're down in our final learning module, week 7. And in week 7, you are going to be talking about 3 different topics. We're going to be looking at sustainability, for which I do have a lecture video. We're going to be talking about urbanization, for which I've given you a YouTube video that's a really nice description of how, as a global society, we saw sort of the rise of urbanization, how we went from a mostly rural sort of small subsistence farming agricultural society into the growth of cities where there were opportunities and jobs and more prosperity and things like that. So this is sort of a nice historical overview of urbanization. And then again, I have the attached lecture notes for those. And then the last topic we're going to be talking about is environmental health hazards. So this is sort of a culmination of all of the topics that we've been discussing, and now we're looking specifically at how these things impact our health. So we know that air pollution and water pollution and climate change and hazardous waste and all of these different sort of disparate topics we've been discussing, we know that they have an impact on health. But how do we know they have an impact on health? So that's what this sort of final discussion is all about. It is about these, again, environmental health hazards. So we are looking at those chemical agents in the environment. We refer to them as toxicants, things that are toxic. But we're also looking at other agents in the environment as well. We're also looking at the role of pathogens, which are, again, biological diseases, so things that make us sick. Viruses and bacteria and protists and other things. So part of this lecture is also about how it is we're coming into contact with more of these pathogens and the sort of consequences of altering and changing our environment and why that's happening. So that's kind of what this sort of last piece of content that we're going to be covering. As far as assignments go for this week, I'm going to have you do an eco-footprint calculator, which if you've never done one of these before, these are really interesting. So it's going to take you to a website that is going to ask you a series of questions about your lifestyle. So everything from how often you eat meat to what size of home do you live in and how far you travel by car every week, all of those types of questions. And then it will calculate essentially your impact on the planet. And your impact is typically given in terms of hectares, which hectares are amount of land. It's just a measurement of land, and it's that much productive land that you personally need in order to fuel your lifestyle. So in order to do all the things that you're doing, you need this much land on Earth and those resources. But what's kind of more interesting is the other measure that eco-footprint calculators do. So they take your personal footprint, and then they say, let's assume that every person on this earth lived the same way you do. So they lived in the same size house, and they ate the same types of foods, and they traveled the same amount by car or plane or whatever it is. How many Earth's worth of resources would we need to support everyone if we all lived the same way you lived? And again, it's really interesting because for most people, it's an awful lot more than a single planet's worth of resources, right? It could be 3 planets, 4 planets, 7 planets. So it's kind of an eye-opening comparison to see how many resources you're actually using. So that's the assignment for this week. Again, it's kind of a nice summation, if you will, of all of the things that we've been talking about and kind of bringing it back to you, making it personal. So this is my impact on the planet, and what are things that maybe I could do to lessen my impact? Are there changes that I could make that would make that footprint smaller? That's the idea. And then, of course, we have the discussion question for this week, and also, last but not least, is the module quiz for this week. So that's what we have as far as content goes. I also wanted to make you aware of, again, a couple of different things. I've mentioned the exam study guides before, but just as a reminder, since we're getting really close to this exam, you can find these in the course materials folder. So once again, there's 2 different study guides, and it depends on if you plan on taking the essay exam or if you plan on taking the traditional exam. You do not have to take both, right? Please note. Excuse me. You don't have to take both. It's one or the other. If you're taking the essay exam, you're going to see 6 questions from this study guide on the exam itself. So I'm pulling them straight from the study guide, so you know exactly what to prepare for. There's 10 on the study guide. The exam is going to choose 6 of them for you. Okay? If you're taking the traditional exam, again, I've given you all of the topics and the content and the key points from each of the topics we've been discussing this semester that I really want you to focus on in order to prepare for the exam. The other thing that I've made available is another opportunity for extra credit. So for those of you who did the survey, thank you. I appreciate that. You all received 5 points of extra credit for completing that survey. If you'd like a little bit more extra credit, you can do this personal e-waste audit. So this is kind of similar to the trash can diary you did, but instead of keeping track of everything you throw away for 3 days, you're going to think back to every piece of electronics that you personally have ever owned, right? So it's not just phones, but it could be televisions, it can be stereo systems, it can be gaming consoles, hair dryers, curling irons, you name it. If you had to plug it in to get it to work, or you had to use a battery to get it to work, it falls into this category of e-waste. So what I want you to do is I want you to write down these things that you've owned, and then what did you do with them when you were finished with them? Okay, and then there's some reflection questions. If you turn that into me by the end of the semester, which our semester ends on Sunday the 26th, I'll give you 10 points of extra credit for that. Last but not least, I do want to show you, and again, I'm not sure why it's not available in your modules. It should be. Here, I'll fix it so that it's available right now. There we go. All right, so I'm also making available the final weeks folder. So this folder is for accessing the exam, and it's also for the site that's going to take you to upload your Green Tech presentation. So here's a bit of information about the lecture exam. Once again, these are things that I think I've shared with you already, but if I haven't, please take a look carefully. The 2 different types of exams. It's not timed. There's no time limit here. Take as much time as you need to complete these. You can use notes. I'm allowing to use a 4x6-inch index card. Okay, so that is, just grab a half a sheet of paper and write down whatever you think is necessary to get you through the exam, right? You will be using what's called Lockdown Browser. You don't need the monitor part of it, which is the webcam. I'm not requiring that, but you will use Lockdown Browser. Lockdown Browser is a program that you have to download, which means you need to take this exam on a computer or a laptop. You can't take it on a phone. You need to take it on a computer or a laptop, and you have to download this program. What Lockdown Browser does is it prevents you from having any other windows up on your screen while you're taking the exam. So the only thing that can be open is your exam itself. Okay, so to get to it, there is a link here, right here on Blackboard, where it says Respondus Lockdown Browser. So when you click on that link, it's going to bring you to this page. And again, I had that page up previously just to show you what it looked like, but that's what it looks like. Okay, so you will then install it onto your computer. If you want to watch the video that kind of tells you how it works, I highly encourage that. You're going to install it on your computer, and then once it's on your computer, sorry, let me get rid of that. Once it's on your computer, you will open it. I can't open it because the system doesn't allow me to have screen capture software running while Lockdown Browser is open, right? That's kind of the point. It'll prevent you from opening anything else. So it'll make you close down all the windows on that you have that are currently active, and the only thing you'll be able to use is this Lockdown Browser. So you'll open the program, it'll take you back to Blackboard where you're going to sign in, and once you sign in, you will navigate back here to the exams and you'll be able to access the exams. Okay? If you don't use Lockdown Browser and you try to open this exam, it's going to ask you for a password. If you get to this screen, you haven't done it correctly, right? It means you're not using Lockdown Browser, and you have to. There is no password to access this exam. You have to use Lockdown Browser. So cancel out of that, and then make sure you go back and make sure that program is downloaded. Okay, so the exam, I guess technically you could take it now if you wanted to, but it's really going to be starting next Monday. Okay, so for a week from today, next Monday is when the exam is open. But technically the exam's open right now. So if you're feeling super confident and on top of things and you just want to take it and get it out of the way, more power to you. Go for it. The other thing I wanted to show you quickly is the Green Tech presentations. So the presentations are using, once again, a website called Flipgrid. So the great thing about Flipgrid is that you can just hit this green button and you can do one of two things. You can either record a video through your phone, through your laptop, through your iPad, whatever has a camera on it. It's entirely up to you. You can record it that way, 2 to 4 minutes. Or you can upload a video that you've already recorded. So let's say that you used a recording program on your own computer to record your presentation, and you just want to upload that to Flipgrid. Well, you can do that too. When you press this green button, it'll give you an option to upload a file versus recording a file. So you can do that as well. I've done a video. It's a sample video, right? The idea is here are different ways that you could do your video, right? So that's this video that's right here. So that is also going to be due, again, next week. If you want to put your video up right now, go for it. There's nothing stopping you. But again, the idea is that you'll have that posted. I think I give you a deadline of Friday, July 24th, because I want those 2 extra days for people to be able to view the presentations. Because in addition to the presentation itself, we also have a self-evaluation and a peer evaluation. So the self-evaluation is really simple. You're just going to answer 3 questions. Okay. The peer evaluation is also fairly simple, but you actually have to watch someone else's video. So you'll go here to this Flipgrid and you'll click on someone's video, not mine. Mine doesn't count. You'll click on someone's video, you'll watch it, and then you'll answer those 3 questions. Okay, so this is sort of all the parts of the assignment, right? So it's your presentation, your reflection on your presentation, and then watching someone else's presentation. All right. So again, this is available now. This last module is available for you now. Once again, towards the end of this week and early next week, I do plan on having some study sessions. Not a lot of people have responded to my doodle poll, so I'm just going to have to sort of schedule 3 and hope that you can make it. The idea here is that you come to me with your questions, right? So I'm not specifically giving content during this time, but it's more or less your opportunity to ask me things. So as you're going through the study guide, if there's something you're stuck on or something you don't know the answer to, or you need help with something, this is going to be your opportunity. So I'll set up these sessions through something called Blackboard Collaborate, and I'll post the sessions probably in this week 8 folder is where I'll post them. If I post them somewhere else, I'll send out an email and let you all know. But I'll post the links to the study sessions here. You do them through Blackboard. We have a program called Blackboard Collaborate, which is it's a conferencing tool. So it's similar to Zoom, it's similar to WebEx, it's just a conferencing tool that's directly through Blackboard. So when the session is open, you would click on the link and it would open up and take you there, and you will be able to see audio, hear audio and see video from my side and from other students if they choose to share, right? So that's the idea. So again, if you specifically have a preference, make sure you check out that doodle poll that I sent you all yesterday so that you can sort of have your preferences known. Otherwise, I'm just going to pick the 3 times that I think are most accessible to most people, and we'll go from there. So I think that is it for this week. Once again, if you have any questions or any concerns, please let me know. That's what I'm here for. And I'll be in touch with you all again soon. Bye, everybody.